It's great to see you back again, movie enthusiasts. Let's dive into some exciting film news. Today, we'll be discussing the latest attempts to create another Tom and Jerry movie, the casting announcement for Patrick Bateman in the American Psycho remake, and the progress of the Clayface movie at DC, which may tie into the Matt Reeves universe. There's plenty to cover, so make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's get started. Starting off with the trailer that got revealed this week, we got our first trailer for 28 Years Later. Many of you have been eager to hear my thoughts on it, and I must say, I found it to be fantastic. This film is highly anticipated among horror fans, especially since the original, 28 Days Later, featuring Cillian Murphy, is regarded as one of the best in the zombie genre. Now, we're finally completing the trilogy with 28 Years Later. Another intriguing aspect of this film that you may have heard is that it was filmed entirely on an iPhone 15. When I mention this, some people point out the photos showcasing the iPhone 15 with numerous attachments. Some argue that this takes away from the achievement of making a film with an iPhone 15. However, I believe this is one of the first instances where it feels incredibly seamless. But either way, I hope the movie is more than just that gimmick of, look, we made a movie with an iPhone 15, and actually does deliver on something awesome. Now, I know people were going crazy over this shot of an infected person that kind of resembled Cillian Murphy. That's been debunked now, revealing it to be a different actor entirely. However, it seems this was intentional due to the similarity, so I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully, it turns out good. Are you guys excited for 28 Years Later? Another trailer that got revealed today that I think has an awesome-sounding premise is a movie called Novocain. This movie stars Jack Quaid and Amber Midhunter, centering on a bank employee who develops feelings for a colleague. Their lives take a dramatic turn when a robbery occurs, leading to the kidnapping of his co-worker. Determined to save her, Jack Quaid's character embarks on a rescue mission. What makes this story particularly interesting is that he has a rare condition that prevents him from feeling pain. This is a real condition that exists in our world, but in this movie, he's going to be using it like a superpower. So, he can grab a hot pot and not feel anything, stick his hand in a fryer to get a gun, and not feel that. There's even a part where he falls victim to a booby trap and he barely feels it. To me, this just feels like a funny action movie where they can get pretty creative with it. And although he doesn't feel a lot of pain, there's still that worry that at any moment, he can die because he doesn't know when he's pushed himself past his limit. I'm genuinely excited about this film. It looks like a lot of fun. What are your thoughts on Novocain? Shifting to the latest in movie news, Jim Carrey has been busy with interviews ahead of Sonic Movie 3. Although we had been hearing that he was planning to retire and that Sonic 3 could be one of his last movies ever made, it actually doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Instead, he's expressing interest in creating sequels to some of his beloved films. In a conversation with comicbook.com about Sonic Movie 3, he was asked about a couple of his iconic films. When asked about doing a sequel to The Mask, he said, "Oh gosh, it has to be the right idea. If somebody had the right idea, I guess. It's not really about the money. I joke about the money, but I never know. You can't be definitive about these things. I said I'd like to retire, but I think I was talking more about power resting because as soon as a good idea comes your way or a group of people that you really enjoy working with and stuff, things just tend to change." And that's really nice to hear because he was pretty honest on the red carpet. When people were asking him, "You said you'd retire, but you're here for Sonic 3. What the heck?" he was like.
I came back to this universe because, first of all, I get to play a genius, which is a bit of a stretch. I bought a lot of stuff and I need the money, frankly.
And we love an honest response like that. But when it comes to The Mask, he's like, it's not all about the money. I would want the story to be right. So I really hope there's somebody out there in Hollywood working on a sequel to The Mask involving Jim Carrey, because that would be a dream come true. He then shares his thoughts on The Grinch, mentioning, "If we can figure out The Grinch, the thing about it is that on the day, I had to do that with a ton of makeup, and I could hardly breathe, and it was an extremely excruciating process. The children were in my mind all the time. It's for the kids, it's for the kids, it's for the kids. And now, with motion capture, things like that, I could be free to do some other things." Essentially, he's open to a sequel to How the Grinch Stole Christmas, but he prefers to avoid the heavy makeup, opting instead for motion capture. While many may have reservations about CGI and its potential to not match the original film's charm, I would do anything to see Jim Carrey reprise his role as the Grinch. His performance in that movie is hilarious, and just the thought of him stepping back into that role excites me. I'm all in, regardless of the storyline. Let's make it happen. One significant drawback is that the Dr. Seuss estate, which holds the rights, has prohibited any further live-action adaptation since The Cat in the Hat. So even if there were plans for another live-action project, the estate would not permit it, as they are focusing solely on animated works moving forward. However, it's important to note that Jim Carrey has no intention of retiring. He remains one of my all-time favorite actors. What roles would you like to see him return to? I'm eager to hear your thoughts. Now on another topic, yesterday, we received news that, while not entirely surprising, is certainly becoming tiresome. Disney is set to create a live-action version of Tangled. Reports indicate that Michael Gracie, known for directing The Greatest Showman, will be at the helm of this remake. There was a time when I was indifferent to these Disney's live-action projects. I thought, this could be entertaining, there might be something worthwhile, and if not, we can always enjoy the original. However, it now feels like a blatant cash grab, just making the same story realistic, and it's just not meeting at all the standards of the original film. Disney seems intent on continuing this trend, especially with the upcoming Mufasa movie. I doubt it will resonate as strongly as the original Lion King, which is a shame because it offers an original narrative rather than recycling an old one. But audiences just like being drawn to the familiar, and there are a lot of younger kids that are obsessed with the real-life version of their favorite cartoon movies. So there's always going to be a market for these adaptations, but it remains to be seen how they will be received. I'm passing this over to you all. I know you have strong feelings about it, so let me know just how much you dislike it. Live-action Tangled. Are you excited or frustrated? And while continuing on the train of talking about remakes, there's been buzz about a new version of American Psycho in the works. That movie is not only still popular to this day, but has a ton of funny memes I still laugh at. Initially, I wasn't particularly excited about this project, but learning that Luca Guadagnino would direct certainly caught my attention. And now we have here who's going to be playing iconic role of Patrick Bateman. Austin Butler has landed the role. Now I must admit, this casting choice seems solid. Austin Butler is a talented actor, yet I was hoping for a more unexpected pick for Bateman. This feels like a safe option. While I believe the remake will be executed well, I can't help but wonder how it will stack up against the original. If they choose to update the story, what new elements will they introduce? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. With Austin Butler as Patrick Bateman, do you think this is a wise decision, or would another actor have been a better fit? And while continuing the trend that Hollywood is just out of ideas, now we have an article confirming that Warner Brothers is making another attempt at a Tom and Jerry movie. This time, however, it will be entirely animated, steering clear of the live-action CGI hybrid approach. Now, I remember that the last Tom and Jerry film was released during the COVID era, premiering on Max. As a lifelong fan of the series, I spent countless hours enjoying those classic cartoons. Unfortunately, translating their charm to the big screen has proven challenging. The previous film left me quite disappointed. With this new animated feature, I'm open to giving it a shot. I adore these characters, but it's tough to extend their 10 to 30-minute cartoon format into a full-length film. A lot of that is because they're silent characters, and it's a lot of physical comedy. To fill that for an hour and a half, additional talking characters will likely need to be introduced. Alternatively, if Tom and Jerry are given voices, it could feel strange for longtime fans. There was a previous attempt at that, but we prefer to forget it. I'm uncertain about how this new project will turn out, but it's Tom and Jerry, and I'm always eager to see what they bring to the table. I'd love to hear your thoughts or ideas on what the plot of a Tom and Jerry movie could look like, keeping them primarily silent while still being the central characters. We now turn our attention to some exciting official news that we had been hearing for the longest time. A possible solo Clayface movie based on the popular Batman villain is now officially moving forward. Variety has confirmed that DC Studios has given the green light for this project, with a script penned by Mike Flanagan. What truly excites me about this film is Mike Flanagan's involvement. His track record has been impressive, and Clayface is built to be a horror-like character. However, there is a little bit of confusion here. If we go over to Deadline's article, they added some additional details about what we can expect from this project, where it says, in March of 2023, Flanagan Take on Clayface will not feature the character as a villain after the writer had a meeting with DC bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran, who took over at DC Studios in 2022. Although Flanagan wasn't pitching the character to be part of Matt Reeves' DC lore, our sources have said that Clayface is a big addition to Reeves' The Batman too. This brings us to a point of confusion. Official sources suggest that this film may indeed be linked to the Matt Reeves Batman universe. Previously, there were whispers that Clayface could be one of the antagonists in the Batman Part 2, but those rumors faded. Now, with this project moving forward, it appears we are set to see another spin-off within the Matt Reeves universe, featuring a solo Clayface story. I'm torn about this development. If this version of Clayface is indeed part of the Matt Reeves universe, it likely won't showcase the shape-shifting monster that fans are familiar with. Instead, we might see a more grounded portrayal of a serial killer with a clay mask that, I'm not going to lie, could also probably be a great interpretation. And one set in the Matt Reeves universe, I think I would definitely still watch that, even more so if it's written by Mike Flanagan. It's certainly a unique choice of a villain to headline a solo film, and I wonder how many casual viewers would actually be drawn to a Clayface movie. The Joker movie made $1 billion, largely due to its iconic status. Clayface, on the other hand, seems to be a character that only hardcore fans are familiar with. It's also intriguing that this is being developed as a movie rather than a series, like The Penguin. But then again, if it's not in the Matt Reeves universe, it raises questions about the decision to focus on Clayface when there are so many other prominent characters in the DC universe, such as Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern. James Gunn continues to make some really strange choices, but I can't criticize the direction when you've got talented people making these movies. What I'm saying is that I'm genuinely curious about this film. I'm eager to find out which universe it belongs to. Just the involvement of Mike Flanagan is enough to pique my interest, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this all fits into the larger narrative. Now, I turn it over to you. What do you think about the Clayface movie? Is it part of the Matt Reeves universe? Will it focus on the shape-shifting monster, or take a more grounded approach with a serial killer storyline? Is it tied to the DCU or the Batman universe? Let me know your thoughts. That wraps up the current movie news. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my insights. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already,